Americans used to take 2 years to do the grand tour of Europe back in the day. They were on to something. Europe has a lot to offer, but it takes a long time to see it all. We have to pick and choose what to see because most of us only get a few weeks off a year. Today we will talk about top 20 places to visit in Europe. Number 20. Lisbon. Lisbon is the capital city of Portugal. It is on the Atlantic coast, on the Tagus River. In the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries, this place caught the attention of travelers who set sail around the world. The 16th century fortress Belém Tower on the north bank of the Tagus is one of the things you should see. The Moors built São Jorge Castle on top of a hill so that it has great views of old Lisbon. Number 19. Gullfoss. It is likely that not many people you know have been to Iceland, but it might be worth the trip to see the beautiful Gullfoss waterfalls. Gullfoss is one of the most popular places to visit in Iceland. It is in the southern part of the country. At times, it looks a bit like a glacier, which makes sense since it gets its water from a glacier. The waterfall starts right after the Alfus River makes a sharp turn to the left. It then falls down a 3-step stairs into a 35-meter deep canyon. Number 18. Athens, Greece. Greece's Athens, where people have lived since the 5th century BC, is where democracy got its start, because this city is the capital of both Greece and ancient Europe. A lot of the most important sites in Athens are in the Old Town, especially around the Acropolis. The Temple of Zeus, the Theater of Dionysus, Hadrian's Arch, and the Parthenon are all on the list. Number 17. Kotor Bay. Kotor Bay in the southwestern part of Montenegro is a great place to see beautiful scenery. With its rocks and beautiful blue water, this bay off the coast of Italy's Adriatic is truly picturesque. Along the bay are a number of well-kept ancient towns. There are 200 Orthodox churches and chapels and 100 Christian churches and chapels spread out among the towns. People come here on pilgrimages to see the scenery and to visit the congregations. Number 16. Moscow. Moscow is the center of Russia and Eastern Europe. It has been the capital of Russia for almost 900 years. In this way, this old city has a lot to offer tourists. Let us start with the Red Square, which dates back to the 1400s and is close to many of the city's most important sites. The Kremlin, an old castle that now houses museums and the president of the Russian Federation, is one of the city's most famous landmarks. One side of the square has the famous St. Basil's Cathedral, which has onion-shaped domes and is now a museum. In the middle of the square is Lenin's tomb. Number 15. Venice. People who love romance will love riding along the Grand Canal on a gondola while an Italian love song plays in the background. After all, this is the place from which Marco Polo set out on his trip to China. The most popular square in Venice is San Marco Square, where you should start your trip around the city. The Doge's Palace and St. Mark's Basilica are both here. The Doge's Palace is the seat of government in Venice, and the Tower of St. Mark's Basilica has beautiful views of the city. The Rialto and size bridges that cross the canals are also well known in Venice. Number 14. Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo is the main city in the small principality of Monaco. It is the place to go for big city glitz and glam. It has always been known for these things, but when its prince made Grace Kelly his princess, they hit a whole new level. It is on the Mediterranean Sea and is famous for its fast car races and high-class casinos. As you walk along the port, you will see yachts that belong to rich and famous people. Some of them are as big as ships. Number 13. The Alhambra. A lot of people come to Spain to see the Alhambra. The beautiful palace fortress complex is in Granada, which is in the Andalusia area in the south of Spain. In the late 9th century, this huge complex began as a small castle. It was built on the remains of a Roman fortress. Christianity took over, and that is where Columbus got permission to find the New World. It is amazing how different types of architecture have come together over the years. There is beautiful art and large parks all over. Number 12. Florence, Italy. Florence may have been important in making the Renaissance happen. Many people say that great artists like Michelangelo helped bring Europe out of the Dark Ages. You can see their work at the Uffizi, which is Florence's best gallery, or at the Accademia, which has the original David. Enjoy a dessert while walking along the Ponte Vecchio, which spans the Arno River. Look at the Pitti Palace to see how rich the Medici family really is. Be amazed at the early engineering that went into building the Duomo. It is the best of Florence. Number 11. London. London is a great place for people who love English history. There are a lot of castles in this city on the Thames, from Buckingham Palace to Hampton Court Palace. Inside the Tower of London, which is more of a jail than a palace, are the royal jewels. Also, the buying is great from Knightsbridge to Carnaby Street. Do not miss the chance to see the beautiful food halls at Harrods. The famous too is a quick and easy way to get around London. Just watch out for the gap. Number 10. Neuschwanstein Castle. The phrase fairy tale castle fits Neuschwanstein Castle in the Bavarian Alps very well. This Romanesque revival castle from the 1800s looks like it came straight out of a fairy tale. In fact, some people say that Neuschwanstein inspired the castle in Disney's Sleeping Beauty. King Ludwig II of Bavaria built the castle as a vacation spot. He liked how it made the Middle Ages seem more fairy tale-like. Building the castle out of bricks and then covering it with rocks, like the white limestone that you can see from far away. Number 9. Amsterdam. As you walk through Amsterdam, you will see canals that wind around the city and tall, narrow row houses. The city is where Anne Frank kept her famous diary, so you have to see the house where she wrote it. This Venice of the North is also a city with a lot of great art. The Rijksmuseum, which has some of the best works of art in Europe, Rembrandt's house, and the more modern Van Gogh Museum are just a few examples. Take a break from seeing the sights to visit the Heineken Brewery and try some of Holland's beer. Number 8. Prague, Czech Republic. People think that Prague is one of the best places to visit in Europe, even though it has a long past of war and damage. In spite of the damage from World War II, Prague's old town is very nice and worth more than a few hours of your time. In Prague, there are many areas where people can walk freely. It is fun to walk by Prague Castle, the Jewish Quarter, Street Vitus Cathedral, and the Charles Bridge. Wenceslas Square, which is in the new town, is full of nightlife and excitement. Number 7. Istanbul. Even though Istanbul is on the edge of Europe, it is still a great place to visit when you are traveling. The biggest city in Turkey is very interesting. It has a lot of history, as well as colorful markets and churches. The ecumenical Hagia Sophia, which has been a Greek Orthodox Christian basilica, then a royal mosque, and now a museum, and the 15th century Topkapi Palace, which is also a museum today, are some of the city's most popular sites. The Grand Bazaar has been open for business since 1461. You can do some shopping there. Number 6. Geiranger Fjord. It is pretty hot in Europe in the summer, so go to Norway. It has some pretty cool views. Geiranger Fjord is a fjord that is 15 kilometers long and has clear blue water that comes from beautiful waterfalls. Take a car ferry ride through the fjord to see the sights. You will pass by towns on the shores. Watch out for the Suder and Seven Sisters waterfalls. The names come from a story that he is trying to court the sisters. Bridal Veil is another one to look for. In the right light, it looks like a thin veil cover the rocks. Number 5. Barcelona, Spain. The Romans built Barcelona, which is now a busy city on the Mediterranean Sea. It is a major city in the region because it is the capital of Catalonia. It might be best known for the strange buildings that Antoni Gaudi created there. One of these famous buildings is La Sagrada Familia, a church that has been under construction since 1892. You could base your whole trip around his buildings, but then you would miss out on other great things about Barcelona, like La Rambla, a famous street for walking in the middle of the city. Number 4. Dubrovnik. It is not a very big city in Europe, but do not let that stop you from going there. More than 43,000 people live in this small gem, but it is one of the most popular tourist spots in the Mediterranean. The fortified city of Dubrovnik takes tourists back in time to a time when it was a major maritime power with the third largest navy in the Mediterranean. You may see statues of Street Viejo as you walk around the city. He is the city's patron saint, and every February they celebrate his life. Number 3. Santorini. Santorini is an island in the Aegean that is a great place to unwind. Top travel magazines say this is a great place to visit, and you will agree after you have been. There are picture postcard towns, an active volcano, and beautiful sunsets on the island. Visit Fira, a town that sits on top of a cliff. You should also try some wines, like the dessert wine Vincanto and the food that tastes better and is sweeter because it grows in volcanic ash soil. Number 2. Paris, France. Although songs praise Paris in the spring, this fascinating city on the Seine is a great place to visit any time of the year. There is so much history, culture, great food, and high fashion in this city. You will not want to miss seeing the famous Eiffel Tower. One of the best art collections in the world is in the Louvre. Sacred Heart and Notre Dame are two of its most important churches. When you want to feel rich, go to Versailles and see the famous Hall of Mirrors. Number 1. Rome. In the past, the Romans set up bases all the way to Great Britain. But when it came to making great monuments, they did not forget about their home city. The Colosseum is a must-see attraction in Rome. It was a fighting arena that could hold up to 80,000 people. A small country inside the city is one of the main draws. The Vatican City, with its beautiful St. Peter's Basilica and art by Michelangelo, is a must-see for everyone, even if you are not Catholic. When the Pope meets with people every Wednesday, you might catch a look of him. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Stay tuned for the next video.